Good morning. Breaking. 40 people died in a stampede at a political rally in India just hours ago. I'm Remo, and this is the Daily Signal for September 29th, 2025. Stay tuned for the rest of the stories.
Unfiltered. Now,
Here are the other top stories for September 29th, 2025. Russia unleashes 12-hour assault on Kyiv with 500 drones and 40 missiles, killing 4, including a 12-year-old girl. Palestinian death toll surpasses 66,000 as Netanyahu schedules critical meeting with Trump. Denmark reports mysterious drone sightings at multiple military bases for the second time this month. Moldova's pro-EU party takes early lead in pivotal election that could reshape Eastern Europe. Vietnam evacuates thousands and shuts down airports as Typhoon Boiloy threatens devastating landfall. Iran's supreme leader mocks Netanyahu's UN walkout, calling Israel most despised regime in the world. Record-breaking boat carrying 125 migrants successfully crosses the English Channel overnight. New UN sanctions force Iranians to brace for severe economic impact across all sectors. India's cricket team receives massive 21 crore rupee reward for historic 9th Asia Cup victory. Now let's dive into each story. Breaking overnight, Russia launched its most intensive assault on Kyiv in months. Here's what happened. Nearly 500 drones and over 40 missiles pounded Ukraine's capital for 12 straight hours. The human cost is devastating. 4 people are confirmed dead, including a 12-year-old girl. Over 70 others were injured, many of them children. The attack damaged 7 districts across Kyiv, with one 5-story building suffering partial collapse. Poland immediately scrambled fighter jets to protect western Ukraine. Ukrainian President Zelensky called the assault insidious and renewed urgent calls for European military support. Why this matters? This represents a significant escalation from Russia, targeting civilian areas with unprecedented intensity. The timing suggests Russia is testing international resolve before potential diplomatic negotiations. The death toll from yesterday's political rally Stampede in southern India has reached 40 people. The tragic incident occurred at a campaign event for popular actor-turned-politician Vijay. Emergency services are still treating dozens of injured attendees. Initial reports suggest overcrowding and inadequate crowd control measures led to the deadly crush when thousands of supporters tried to move through narrow exits simultaneously. This marks one of the deadliest political rally accidents in recent Indian history. Authorities are launching a full investigation into safety protocols and event planning failures. Why this matters? Political rallies in India regularly draw massive crowds, but safety infrastructure often can't handle the numbers. This tragedy will likely force nationwide reviews of crowd control standards for political events. Vietnam is racing against time as Typhoon Boiloy approaches with devastating potential. Authorities have evacuated thousands of residents from coastal areas and shut down major airports, including those in Ho Chi Minh City and Hanoi. The typhoon is currently packing winds exceeding 150 kilometers per hour and is expected to make landfall within 24 hours. Meteorologists warn of catastrophic flooding and infrastructure damage. Emergency shelters are at capacity, and the military has been deployed for rescue operations. Schools and businesses across the region have closed indefinitely. Why this matters? Vietnam's economy relies heavily on manufacturing and shipping. Any prolonged disruption could impact global supply chains, particularly in electronics and textiles. The human cost could be severe if the typhoon maintains its current strength. Denmark is reporting another wave of unauthorized drone sightings over sensitive military installations. This marks the second major incident this month, raising serious national security concerns. Multiple drones were spotted simultaneously over different military bases, suggesting coordinated surveillance efforts. Danish authorities are investigating whether this represents foreign intelligence gathering or potential terrorist reconnaissance. The military has enhanced security protocols and is considering implementing no-fly zones around critical defense facilities. NATO allies have been briefed on the incidents. Why this matters? These drone incursions reflect growing security challenges across Europe. With tensions high due to the Ukraine conflict Any unauthorized military surveillance raises questions about national preparedness and foreign interference. Moldova's election results could reshape the geopolitical map of Eastern Europe. Early counts show the pro-European Union Party maintaining a significant lead over pro-Russian candidates. Voter turnout hit record levels, with over 75% of eligible citizens casting ballots. International observers report the election was conducted fairly despite concerns about Russian disinformation campaigns. The winning party has promised immediate steps toward EU membership and increased economic integration with Western Europe. Russian officials have already criticized the electoral process. Why this matters? Moldova sits strategically between Ukraine and EU member Romania. A pro-EU victory would create another buffer against Russian influence and could accelerate the country's path to European integration. A small boat carrying a record 125 migrants successfully crossed the English Channel overnight, highlighting the escalating migration crisis. The dangerously overcrowded vessel was intercepted by UK border forces in the early morning hours. All passengers survived the crossing, but several required immediate medical attention due to hypothermia and dehydration. The previous record for a single boat was 94 people. UK officials expressed growing concern about smuggling operations using larger boats to maximize profits while endangering lives. French authorities report increased activity along departure beaches. Why this matters? The record numbers reflect deteriorating conditions in origin countries and increasingly sophisticated smuggling networks. European leaders face mounting pressure to address both border security and humanitarian obligations. Iran's supreme leader Ali Khamenei launched a scathing verbal attack on Israel following Prime Minister Netanyahu's walkout at the United Nations. Khamenei called Israel the most despised regime in the world during a televised address. The comments came after Netanyahu abruptly left during a UN session addressing Middle East peace initiatives. Israeli officials dismissed Khamenei's remarks as desperate propaganda. Regional tensions remain at dangerous levels, with both countries maintaining military readiness. International diplomats express concern about potential escalation beyond verbal exchanges. Why this matters? The public nature of these attacks suggests both leaders are playing to domestic audiences while raising stakes internationally. Any miscalculation could trigger broader Middle East conflict. Iranians are bracing for severe economic hardship as new United Nations sanctions take effect immediately. The measures target Iran's banking sector, oil exports, and technological access. Currency exchange rates plummeted overnight, and essential goods prices are already rising in Tehran markets. Iranian officials called the sanctions economic warfare while promising to find alternative trade partners. The sanctions represent the most comprehensive international restrictions on Iran since 2015. European and Asian allies are implementing the measures despite potential economic costs to their own industries. Three major themes emerge from today's breaking news that will shape the coming weeks. First, authoritarian escalation. Russia's massive assault on Kyiv and Iran's aggressive rhetoric against Israel show authoritarian regimes testing international boundaries. Both countries are calculating whether global attention is divided enough to allow increased aggression. Second, democratic resilience under pressure. Moldova's high voter turnout, despite Russian interference, and India's massive political engagement despite safety challenges, demonstrate democracy's continued appeal even amid difficulties. Third, humanitarian crises demanding urgent attention. From Ukrainian civilians under bombardment to overcrowded migrant boats to typhoon evacuations, human displacement and vulnerability are reaching critical levels worldwide. The connection is clear. As geopolitical tensions intensify, civilian populations bear the highest costs. Today's stories from 4 different continents all involve ordinary people caught in extraordinary circumstances. What to watch? Netanyahu's meeting with Trump could reshape Middle East dynamics. Moldova's final election results will determine Eastern Europe's geopolitical alignment, and Russia's next moves in Ukraine may determine whether this conflict escalates further. These aren't isolated incidents. They're interconnected pieces of a rapidly changing global puzzle. Understanding these connections helps us prepare for what's coming next. That's the Daily Signal for September 29th, 2025. I'm Remo. Stay informed, stay engaged, and we'll see you tomorrow morning with the stories that matter most.
Unfiltered.